Catholics. So in this video, I want to give you 5 reasons why Protestants believe that the Apocrypha should be rejected and is not considered part of the divine scriptures. But
I agree. The Apocrypha should not be in the Bible, Protestant or Catholic. But Michael, I thought you were Catholic. I thought you believed the Apocrypha books should be in the Bible. No, I believe the Deuterocanonical books should be a part of the Bible. Let me explain. First, let's look at the definition of the two words. Deuterocanonical. The simplest meaning or term is second canon, and it comes from the Greek. And the definition of Apocrypha is hidden, and that comes from the Greek as well. Now, this is where the confusion begins. As Catholics, the Church uses the definition of Deuterocanon to refer to the 7 books that are in the Old Testament Greek Septuagint. The word Deuterocanon was first used in 1566 by the theologian Sixtus of Siena, who had converted to Catholicism from Judaism. The word was used to describe scriptural texts considered canonical by the Catholic Church, but which recognition was considered secondary. For Sixtus, this term included portions of both the Old and New Testaments. Sixtus considers the final chapter of the Gospel of Mark to be Deuterocanonical. He also applies the term to the book of Esther from the canon of the Hebrew Bible. Now, Protestants, on the other hand, refer to these extra books as Apocrypha. Why? Good question. Now, the way I was taught growing up as a Protestant, I only learned about the 39 books in the Old Testament. While going to Bible college, in my Intro to the Bible and my basic apologetics classes, I learned about the extra books in the Old Testament that the Catholic Church added to help promote their non-biblical doctrines. The only word that was used was Apocrypha. I did not even hear or learn of the word Deuterocanon or Deuterocanonical until after I began to study the history of the Bible again under the Catholic perspective. In studying and research, I learned that Martin Luther, along with some of the other reformers, began using the word Apocrypha at that time in history to reject some of the books in the Old Testament because these books were not found in the Jewish Masoretic texts of the Old Testament. That tradition has continued on down to this day. What is surprising to learn is that even though Martin Luther rejected the Deuterocanon books, he still used them in his translation of the Bible, as well as the Church of England and other Protestant translators. They were just moved to a different printed section of the Bible. Now, believe it or not, the Deuterocanonical books stayed in printed Protestant Bibles clear up to the 1820s when the British and Foreign Bible Society dropped the Apocrypha section to save money on printing. The American Bible Society officially stopped including the Apocrypha in its Bibles in 1827. Now, if you think I'm joking or lying about this, check out this website for more information. It is my belief that the reason why Luther started using the word Apocrypha and Antilohemia as well is because the early church fathers' use of the words. One of the first church fathers may have been Julius Africanus in his letter to Origen at Alexandria, disputing the authenticity of the story of Louisiana in the book of Daniel. Origen responded to it, and both letters are included in Origen's early works. Other church fathers are Irenaeus, Clement of Alexandria, Athanasius, Jerome, and the list can go on and on. So, at the beginning of the church, the apostles used various writings of the Old Testament. They used the different Hebrew books that were available to them. And then, as the church grew and spread out from Judea into the other parts of the Mediterranean, the Greek Septuagint of the Old Testament books were used, which included the 7 books that are not in Protestant Bibles today. We see an example of this in Acts chapter 17 with the church in Berea. Verse 11 says that they searched the scriptures daily to see if what Paul was teaching was true or not. Now, they did not have Bibles back then like what we have today, but what scriptures were they using? The Torah in Hebrew or the Torah in Greek? Think about that for a moment. So, with Paul going into the Greek areas of the Roman Empire, it's only logical to assume that the Greek Septuagint that he is using to preach and teach. If you look at this chart, you can see how the process of putting everything together over time until we get what we call and use today the Holy Bible. The church over time kept some of the incorrect writings and scrolls, or at least documented their existence. The same is true about the various heretical teachings and groups that came about because of misunderstanding of doctrine. This was all brought together into one group and declared apocryphal. You can get more information about the subject from the website mentioned down below. And so, this is where we get the meaning of the word today, Apocrypha. The history of the term's usage indicates that it referred to a body of historic or mysterious writings that were at first prized, later tolerated, and finally excluded. So, according to the Church, we have the Protestant books that are universally accepted as inspired and canonical by both the Hebrew Bible and the Greek Septuagint Bibles. Deuterocanonical books are those that were in the Greek Septuagint but were not part of the Hebrew Bible. Apocrypha books are those that have been declared by the Church as not fit to be included in the canons of the Bible and were rejected. And because Martin Luther rejected some books in the Bible, he declared them apocryphal and were separated in his Bible, until various Protestants decided not to have the Deuterocanonical writings in their Bible anymore. So, if you are a non-Catholic watching this, I hope you learned something today. The next time you start talking or writing about the books that are not in the Protestant Bible but are included in the Catholic and Orthodox Bibles, please call them by their proper term, Deuterocanon or Deuterocanonical books, not Apocrypha books. Okay? I hope you enjoy watching these videos as much as I enjoy making them. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you would like to discuss about what you just watched or have some questions of your own that you would like answered, feel free to contact me at my email address located down below. Check out the other links that I have down below as well. And remember what St. Jerome said. To be ignorant of Scripture is to be ignorant of Christ. Keep reading and studying. Bye for now.